Hello, and thanks for joining us on Movie Night Memories. You must remember this, a podcast that focuses on movies and our favorite memories of them. Each week we discuss the films that are celebrating an anniversary from when they came out in theaters. My name is Sword Alexander, and I'm joined by the inspiration of this podcast, my mom, Tracey.
Good evening.
This week we're going to be talking about the movies released between May 25th and May 31st, starting off with Midnight Cowboy, then Star Wars, Episode 4, A New Hope.
The first one.
Yes, the original. Then we have Alien, Moonrise Kingdom, Behind the Candelabra.
These are some of my favorites.
Some of these are some of my favorites for sure.
I was doing Liberace.
Yes, a very bad Liberace. Madagascar.
You missed the Out-of-Towners.
I did miss the Out-of-Towners because you are distracting me. With your terrible Michael Douglas impression.
I wasn't doing Michael Douglas, I was doing Liberace.
You sound like the kid from The Shining. Red around.
No, I was doing Liberace. These are some of my favorites. Not Michael Douglas. I was doing Liberace.
Well, it's still the same thing.
Anyway,
coming back. We have the Out-of-Towners, the original, from 1970. Madagascar, Rocky 3, Sister Act, Up, Finding Nemo, and Fletch. This week, we decided to see quite a few of them. We actually had the time to do so. We saw Midnight Cowboy, Alien, Sister Act, Finding Nemo, Up, Moonrise Kingdom, and Behind the Candelabra to get a fresh look and discuss them in more detail. But let's talk about the other films first. First up is Star Wars, A New Hope, released May 25th, 1977, celebrating a 48th anniversary. Taking place in a galaxy far, far away a long, long time ago, a young Luke Skywalker discovers that he is more than just a simple son of a farmer, as he embarks on a journey to discover his true purpose while facing the dreaded Galactic Empire. Now, we've talked about before that we're not really the biggest Star Wars fans. I'm okay. You are especially not. We just grew up in a non-caring household for Star Wars, but you were there when Star Wars first came out.
yes.
So my experience with this, which is none, but I read a book that talked about the what made Star Wars so popular. It was literally lightning in a bottle at the perfect opportunity because of all these different issues going on in the world. People like to theorize, why did Star Wars become so dang popular? But what was it like for you with firsthand experience?
I don't really know why. I think that people were wanting something brand new, something different, something unique, something about outer space at the time. I think they were wanting something that was going to, show them something unique and be, about outer space. And I think they were really excited about it. And so when they went to see it, they were mesmerized. But I wasn't that impressed myself.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't impressed with it at all. I thought it looked kind of chinchy, if you must know.
Was it as everywhere, talked about, you cannot escape a day without somebody mentioning Star Wars, as people have talked about that it was when it first came out in 1977?
Well, people were looking forward to it. There were long lines at movie theaters, as they talked about it in the media and popular culture. I guess because it was talked about so much, and then when we went to see it, I was disappointed. I thought it was kind of childish.
Yeah, with the furry characters and everything.
Yeah, but I just thought it was childish. And I was 14.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I felt it was childish. I thought the script was childish. I thought the little robot was childish. I thought the whole storyline was childish. I didn't feel like it was very grown up at all. Mm-hmm. I didn't like it. I was disappointed. Mm-hmm. That big ugly thing in it. Mm-hmm. What was it called?
There's a few things.
No, the big ugly thing.
Harrison Ford.
No. The big ugly thing.
The Wookiee.
No, the big ugly. It was a big ugly thing. Jabba the Hutt. What was it called?
Oh, Jabba the Hutt. But he wasn't in until the sixth movie.
No,
the third movie.
No, that's not true.
I thought he was in the...
No, that's not true.
I don't recall him being...
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Okay. Well, yes, he was.
You remember better than I do, that's for sure. Maybe we should have seen the movie after all.
And I was like, this is... And then they go out to bars.
Yeah, they do. Tatooine is the place.
And I thought, this is corny, cheesy. They're acting like it's 1977, whatever year that was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And I said, they're making it a disco era in 1977. I mean, in whatever year that was supposed to be.
And like a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah, and they're making it like 19... It was not what,
it was to you.
And why are they saying he was a simple son of a farmer?
Well, he was. In the story, he is the son of a farm... He's a farm boy. He was the son of a farmer. Well, we find out later he's not the son of a farmer. But
No, but why do they call him a farmer of what?
So, like, they lived essentially on a farm. They were just, like, living off their own thing. I don't know what they farmed.
Okay. So that's the first time I've heard. But he was a farmer.
But they essentially did trading goods. I think it was like some kind of some kind of like cattle too. They did some cattle trading as well. They were just simple people. They were supposed to be based off the farmers.
Okay, farmer is that's a cattle rancher.
Well, I don't know what they did. I just remember that they were in like a farm-like attire where they took care of themselves. They took care of their own water needs and they did trading, but they weren't. It's hard to describe.
It's all right.
That's what I described it as.
Anyway, from what I remember, I was disappointed in the film, and people are going to really not like me because of me saying these things, but...
We all have opinions, people aren't as into Star Wars as they were like 10 years ago because of everything that's happened with Star Wars. So I feel like people are less upset about how it used to be.
I'm just telling you, my impression. Mm-hmm. And even back then, people were like, what? You didn't like it? But they said, you just didn't understand it, Tracy. You didn't understand it. It was beyond you to understand. I'm like, no, I understood it, and I just didn't like it.
I understood it too well, and it was the problem.
I know, no, it's not that. I didn't like the two robots mm-hmm. and how they interacted, and then come to find out, Harrison Ford really... did some really bad things with Carrie Fisher, who was underage. Come to find out years later. Mm-hmm. Just recently, it's come out.
Yep.
She was underage.
Different time.
No, it's not different time.
It was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. No, I thought the movie was all right. But we could talk about that another time.
Okay.
So.
All right, so the next film is Out of Towners, released May 27th, 1970. Celebrating a 55th anniversary, the film centers on the many troubles of George and Gwen Kellerman encounter as they travel from their home in Ohio to New York City when George, a sales executive, has a job interview. I thought it was for a promotion.
It's kind of like getting a promotion.
This is one of my favorite films with Jack Lemmon, and it's hilarious. It talks about how you go from a little Midwest town to the big city of New York and how it can destroy your life. And Davey and I, my brother, love this film. We could watch it once a year and still laugh at all the things that had transpired in this film. And Jack Lemmon is a genius in this film. He's an absolute... And the creativity, the music, and what he goes through, and his wife, and how the film work in it is incredible. I love this film.
I think it's a super funny movie. I wish I remembered more jokes of it, and it's one of those films that I'd just like to see again to get more of a fresh look at. But he
gets robbed in Central Park. They become hungry. He breaks a tooth on a Cracker Jack.
I remember that. It's like one of the worst things to happen to you when you're just trying to do something.
Every time he talks, because he breaks his tooth, he whistles. He tries to get money out of a little boy that's lost in Central Park, and he thinks that he's afraid that they think that he's molesting a little boy in the park. The waste, the waste company in New York goes on strike, so there's waste everywhere.
There's like trash
And waste everywhere, all over the streets. It's anything that and everything that happens in New York happens, and he takes their name and number. Remember, he takes down their name and number everywhere. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's great.
It's a great movie.
Next up is Rocky III, released May 28, 1982, celebrating a 43rd anniversary. Rocky Balboa faces stiff competition from Clubber Lang, played by Mr. T.
I pity the fool.
A powerful new contender, and he turns to his old adversary, Apollo Creed, to help him train.
This was a fantastic movie, and we saw it the night that it came out. I'll never forget it.
So, was it really hyped up? It's like,
yes,
oh man.
Yes. This movie, we went the first night it came out, and we were in the first or second row. And we never sat in the first or second row, my family. And our heads were looking straight up to see the film. And the end of the movie got a standing ovation by everyone in the theater. That's how well received this movie was.
I never saw it.
It's an incredible movie. Now probably people go,
yeah.
But it was no.
I'd love to see it sometime. I saw 1, 2, 4, and Balboa. That's the only ones I've seen.
It's an incredible movie.
I never even saw the Creed movies.
And to see the camaraderie between Apollo Creed and Sylvester Stallone and Sylvester Stallone looks so good in this movie. He was in such great shape. And Mr. T, I pity the fool. He was in it, and it was fantastic. I think my brother Danny went with his wife Pam, and we all went, and it just was I bet it was about 10 people that went that night of my friends and family, 10 or 15 maybe. It was a whole row of people, maybe even 2 rows. It was so packed that theater, and I think we went to Gainesville because it was people from Lake City too, and it was packed, and for us to sit up front like that was unusual, but we
had no choice.
And see, now people, you pick a seat. You don't pick a seat back then. Mm-hmm. And that was only recent that you pick a seat now.
Yeah, that was because of COVID regulations and stuff. I wish they got rid of that for movie theaters. For regular, traditional live production theater, I get that. You should not have to pick out a seat in a freaking movie theater. I think that's completely unregulated, completely arbitrary. There's no purpose to it. Just make it so that, you buy a ticket, you go sit where it's available. First come, first serve. And I think it's ridiculous that we still have to do that. It's one of the things that bothers me. Anyway. All
right, so a great movie that we're going to discuss is Madagascar, released May 27th, 2005, celebrating a 20th anniversary. The film centers around 4 zoo animals in New York City as one of them escapes to go off into the wild. His closest friends chase after him and finds themselves taken to the remote island of Madagascar. Is this the one where they say the kitty one?
Yeah, Bad Kitty.
Bad Kitty.
Uh-huh. So this movie meant a lot to us because we saw this when it came out in theaters, and it was one of the funniest things that an 11-year-old kid had ever seen. And I have that. I remember when we got the DVD. I remember when we saw it in theaters. I remember it very vividly. It was one of the funniest movies I'd ever seen in my life. And
for an animation,
yes,
especially.
And you loved it for an animated comedy because they had so many funny, not adult jokes, but jokes that adults would get.
But it just was...
And it was just a generally funny...
You're constantly laughing.
Yeah,
constantly.
It is. It's very... Once you see it for the first time, it gets less funny as you watch it again and again because you've seen the jokes before. But the first time you see this, you don't expect it to be as good as it is when it comes to the writing and the chemistry between Chris Rock, who plays the zebra, and Marty. And then there is Ben Stiller, who plays Alex the lion. Their chemistry is so on point. God. And you can tell they had such a good time doing it. David Schwimmer plays the giraffe.
Even the penguins.
And oh my god, the penguins.
The penguins.
Yep. Oh my gosh, they were fantastic. I remember the first time you laughed at them doing "Smile and Wave, boys,
smile and wave.
We're hitching this place to Antarctica."
Oh gosh, The way they produced this and put this together.
I think the biggest laugh in the movie was when they get to Antarctica and it's silent and it's cold for at least 15 seconds before one of them says, "Well, this sucks."
It seemed like, but it was really about maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds, but it seemed like forever.
The roar of laughter from that theater, I remember it so well, like it was yesterday.
Oh God!
And I remember everybody just busted a gut laughing.
Oh my gosh! Everything was so funny.
And then the guy who played King Julian, I think was it Sacha Baron Cohen? I think it was him. Hold on, I'm gonna look this up. I thought it was Sacha Baron Cohen because at least it was somebody like him. But man, the film was so well done and well voice acted too. You're not going to get that easily again. And the other films were actually quite good too. They came out with 3 of them. The second one was Escape to Africa, which it was the least good of the 3. And then the third one is Europe's Most Wanted. We saw that in an empty theater, and we had a great time watching it. We had a wonderful experience. Yep, Sacha Baron Cohen, he played King Julian, and God, he was so funny. Gosh, it's fantastic. I love this movie. I think it's really well done. I'd love to see it again. It's 20 years since this film came out. And man, it still really does hold up. I look forward to seeing it so we can talk about it again.
Yes. We just didn't have time. We saw so many films as it was.
There's a lot of films you really wanted to see.
Yeah.
So last but not least, a film we didn't get to see is Fletch. Released May 31st, 1985, celebrating a 40th anniversary. It tells the story of Fletch, an investigative journalist in L.A. who accidentally gets involved in a conspiracy involving drug addiction, assassination, and corporate corruption while disguising himself as a variety of unique characters and personalities. Now, Fletch was played by Chevy Chase. And we saw this film, last year? So way before we started doing this podcast.
A year or 2 ago. I can't remember, but
once we found out about it, and once I found out about it, I got the DVD for $5. I think it was off eBay or something. And we checked it out, and it was very good. I didn't love it. I thought it was all right.
Well, I was a big fan of Chevy Chase. I still am. And I think he's an underrated actor.
I agree. I think despite the controversies and difficulties he's had as a personality, both on and off sets, on different productions. I mean,
that people say.
People always will talk. I can't speak for him, and neither of us can speak for how he is and who he is. But he's had some very positive experiences on some production sets, not so much on others, and that's just how show business can be. It's how business can be in general.
That's just gossip.
Yeah, it's how living in America, working in America can be for anybody. It's not just in Hollywood.
Well, they said that about Barbra Streisand, too.
Well, they can say that about your workplaces and my workplaces. We've all had bad and good experiences wherever we worked. And Chevy Chase is just among the normal people. We can't speak for him, but what I can say is that he's very talented, and he's very much... he's very good in this. I don't think it's his best work.
There was 1 or 2 of these, or 3.
Yeah, there was 2. Fletch Lives. I think the second one was called.
Okay, well, there's another Fletch now. Remember? There's another newer Fletch.
That's right.
That came out either this year or not this year, but last year or something.
Mm-hmm. But when this movie came out, did you remember it that much?
Yes. I like I said, I love Chevy Chase. So anything he was in, I'd go see because I just love Chevy Chase. I was a big fan of Chevy Chase since Saturday Night Live.
That's good. So, that's movies that we didn't have a chance to see this week. We're going to focus on the ones that we did see. We're going to start off with Midnight Cowboy. It was released on May 25th, 1969, directed by John Schlesinger. It's Schlesinger.
Schlesinger.
He was the one that directed Sunday Bloody Sunday and other films that I don't really recognize. Then it was written by Waldo Salt, who is very contemporary, very kind of ahead of its time, and very much an auteur kind of writer. He did a movie called Coming Home, which is very popular.
Famous movie.
So the synopsis is: a cowboy with a simple dream moves to New York and meets a struggling survivor in New York City. They try to get by one day at a time to achieve an American dream that's long overdue. John Voight plays the cowboy, and then Dustin Hoffman plays the struggling survivor.
John Voight's from Texas, and Dustin Hoffman is the one who lives in New York.
Right.
And John Voight goes to New York.
Now, when I looked up the critic, what Siskel and Ebert thought of it, Gene Siskel said that he could not recall a more marvelous pair of acting performances and chemistry in a single film up to that point. And this was 1969, so this is when, a few years into his career, this is before, he started working with Ebert more frequently. But this was a very successful film. It won Best Picture at the Oscars that year, and I think Jon Voight won Best Actor as well in it, too. It was very beloved, and it was a very well-produced and well-appreciated film at that point in time, too. It had a small budget of $3.2 million and ended up 10 timing that at least. It did $44.8 million at the box office alone.
So I never saw the whole film until recently with you. So when I did see it, it must have been edited big time.
For TV, for sure.
Yeah, so I watched it with Roxy one night when I was much younger. And some late night time, and it must have been very, very edited on TV. And I was so impressed with the acting of Jon Voight and Dustin Hoffman. But I didn't see all the scenes that we saw the original movie. Mm-hmm. That was very sexual scenes and things that they talked about, because it was not in the original film that I saw at all. So it was a rude awakening the other night when we watched it.
So when did you first see this movie?
I was probably in my either late teens or early 20s.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly, but I do remember where we lived. Roxy lived in a trailer park not near where she worked at the Gaming and Fish Commission in Lake City. So either my late teens or early 20s. So I'm not sure, but it was a long, long time ago. So it's over 40 years ago.
Now, this film has a very famous ending as well, but I want to talk about, now that you've seen it all the way through and seen it for what I would say the second time.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
I still think it's a great film. I feel it's a very sad film, but it shows how people suffered in the late 60s and how they had to survive New York City. Mm-hmm. And how two people that were so different came together to try to survive New York City.
What do you think really made the film succeed? Because it did very well at the box office and with the performances for that year and accolades.
I think it was the acting. I think it was the acting and the message that two outcasts had to come together and how they, no matter what, they had to pull together and they became friends. That's what it was about. Misfits. It was about misfits coming together. Mm-hmm.
And surviving through a very tough world.
Yes. So, and I remember when Roxy and I watched it, we were shocked, but we didn't know how. We knew it was about, some tough things, but we didn't see that. We didn't see that. Mm-hmm. We didn't see the real raunchiness of it.
And if I recall correctly, you had told me, off camera or off voice recorder, that this movie is what's kind of scared Roxy into not wanting to go to New York.
Yes. Yes.
She said, this is why you shouldn't go to New York.
She told me not to go to New York. She said, you don't want to go to New York. I said, yes, I do. I said, and I told her, I said, they've cleaned up New York since then. They've cleaned up New York since then. She says, no, they haven't. It's still the same. I just tell her I want to go to New York.
And she just didn't, how do you know? Well, I just know. She didn't know because she didn't go there. And then I
said, that was back in the 60s. And she's like, it's probably worse now. Things have gotten worse,
And she's just making shit up.
And so she did, but she was protective,
But then you end up going to New York
I've been several times to New York, but when I did go, it was really bad. When I did really go the first time, I was with people that could show me around and everything. But when I went by myself with my class in college, it was really bad. It was really bad. When I didn't have people there to protect me, it was really bad. So it was true.
Well, what would you give this movie out of 5 stars?
I'd give it a 4 because of the acting.
Yeah, I would.
But there were some things that you and I laughed about. That why didn't they get a job?
That was the big.
Why didn't they get a job?
And that's what goes into my criticism of the film, where I think it's a good movie. I think the acting is, I think they have good chemistry together, but I think the acting is, overall it's good. I've seen Jon Voight in better things. I mean, I think Dustin Hoffman's great in this, and I think they do have great chemistry together. But I guess I'm more critical of the film because there's more they could have done. That was the biggest thing for me, is that they were struggling constantly, season after season, month after month, and the only thing they ever showed them doing was just stealing fruit and cans, and stealing, just constantly stealing this and that, and then they were living off a place where they had no rent. If either of them just got
they were living in a condemned building.
Right. So if either of them had just gotten a simple job, and this was the 60s, you could just get a job by walking in and shaking your hand and talking to people about it. You could get a job way easier than nowadays because it requires background checks and stuff. They could have easily gotten a very simple job just to get by. All they had to really pay for was food and and then any other little luxuries they would want to, because they're not paying rent. They're living in a condemned building. They could have made it work, but they just... A lot of inconsistencies, but that's not what the movie's about. It's about these people struggling. But I thought the acting is what really held it up, and I'm more critical of it because I think there was more they could have done to work with it, and really showed that no matter how hard you try, the American dream is still too far away. I think that it was not done a good enough job of showing that. I think the ending is very, very perfect for what the story is supposed to be. It's very bittersweet, but it's something that's... I mean,
You were angry that it beat out another movie.
I was angry that it beat out another film.
At the Oscars.
Yeah. And it's disappointing because I think there were better films that came out that year that deserved those winnings.
The Best Picture.
But, that's all a matter of opinion. And I was more critical of it. I give it 3 stars.
Okay. All right,
So, let's move on to another film that I really enjoyed a lot more. It's Alien, released May 25th, 1979. It was directed by Ridley Scott, and it was written by Dan O'Bannon. The synopsis is that the crew of the Nostromo spaceship is intercepted by an unknown distress signal on a desolate planet. One of the crew is attacked by an alien life form that transforms into the perfect hunter in this iconic sci-fi horror film.
It came out in May 25th, 1979.
Yeah.
So that was 46 years ago.
Yep, 46. So this movie, I remember when I first saw this movie, but tell me what it was like from the movie theater experience.
So I saw this in the theater in 1979. And I was only 16.
What was the audience's overall...
We were not expecting what happened.
So they never showed the alien in the trailers or anything like
that?
No. So you never saw what it looked like?
No. They just said that... When we went to see it, we knew that it was going to be an experience. I know that. Mm-hmm. And in fact, Danny said, I don't know if Tracey should go, my oldest brother. He said, I don't know if Tracey should go. And they got into sort of a back and forth.
And between Danny and who?
I don't remember. I remember Danny saying, I don't know if Tracey should go. And I remember, I know I'm going to go. And I was like, no, I want to go. Because they kept talking about it's an experience.
And you just turned 16.
I guess so.
Because it was 79.
Yeah.
It was 25th.
But I don't we didn't go the first night.
It was a couple days after.
I don't know. I don't know when it was.
But you just turned 16.
I was 16. I don't remember when we went.
Right.
But we went the year that it opened. So I remember Danny saying, I don't know if Tracey should go. I remember that. Because I don't know if it was with my mom or was it with Roxy. But Roxy was like, oh yeah, she'll go. It's okay. And, mm-hmm. So I said, no, I'm going. And so... And I could get in with Danny or Roxy, someone as an older adult to get into R-rated movies.
Mm-hmm. 17.
And the film immediately it took a while.
It's a slow burn.
But I remember at that time it took a while, so we were thinking, oh, this is nothing. This is nothing.
You had the luxury of the first hour.
We were like, this is nothing. And me and Roxy were cutting up and stuff, and I had my boyfriend with me. Oh, this is nothing. This is nothing. And then it was something.
Then the scene.
Then it was something.
The big scene.
And then it was something. And then I was... and people started... When the big scene happened... And they were exploring the planet and stuff. I think they explored the planet.
Yeah. So that's how they find this thing. So obviously, spoiler alert for all the films up to this point and beyond that too that we're going to talk about. Alien is definitely one of them too. So
Sigourney Weaver ends up being the smartest one of all of them. Anyway, so I'm practically on my boyfriend's lap.
But not in that way.
But no, I'm on his lap and
in fear.
Yes, I'm on his lap. And he's holding on to me like dear life. And people are running out the theater and getting sick. Getting sick.
And that's from, as we know,
the scene.
The chest burster scene.
Stomach. It's a stomach.
But they call it the chest burster.
Well,
that's what they even in the lore they call it the chest burster.
Well, it wasn't chest. To me, it was stomach.
It was the same thing.
Whatever.
But in that scene, like and this was famously improvised.
And Roxy's trying to cover my eyes at the same time covering her own eyes. And my boyfriend at the time, Jerry, was trying to just cover his eyes and cover mine, and we're all covering each other's eyes.
But none of you ran out.
No.
But other people ran out of the theaters.
Oh yeah, there were people running. There were people running, screaming.
Like no exaggeration. They actually were like, I got to get out of here.
They were screaming for their lives, and it was pitch black in there. Pitch black. You could not see your hand. You could not see your hand. There were no little lights on like they do now with the little tiny lights on the side.
On the end of the aisles
there was
and everything.
there was no little lights, nothing. And we didn't have cell phones where you could put on the light. There was no lights, there was nothing.
So nobody's ever seen any... Well, people have seen stuff like this because obviously other horror films came out before Alien.
But you could not see...
This was unexpected.
This was unexpected.
They showed there was nothing compared to an hour into the film. Finally, boom, it happens. And then once it happens, it doesn't stop.
And Roxy, at one point in the film, Roxy grabs me and says, "I've got to go pee. I've got to go to the bathroom."
But she wanted you to go with her?
Yes. Oh, you kidding me?
Because you never go alone. Never go alone.
And we're trying to trip, and we're tripping over people's, because we're in the we always want in the middle
of course,
to see the best scene,
the best possible spot.
So we're tripping over people's laps, and people are saying stop, and we're saying excuse me,
get move out of the way.
And so we run to the toilet, and we're feeling sick. We're feeling sick to our stomachs too. And Roxy said, "Did we really see what we saw?" And we said, yes. And we're giggling at the same time. And so when we're coming back, Roxy says there's a whole roll practically of toilet paper on the bottom of my shoe. Because there was toilet paper all over the women's bathroom, because people were, I guess, got so sick they were cleaning up their vomit.
Wow.
There was paper towels and toilet paper everywhere that people had vomited. They went in there and tried to clean it up.
Holy
so
shit.
I'm walking out and it's all over and she says, "You got it all over your shoe, stupid." And so we couldn't even hardly find our seat when we got back in there.
Mm-hmm. So the rest of the movie happens, and you told me, I asked you, what was it like after the movie when you guys walked out of the theater?
Nobody hardly said a thing. People were like...
They were just still processing everything that had happened.
Yes.
And it is one of those movies, especially the way it ends, too, where it's like, holy crap.
It was like... we went to a late showing.
You said it was 9:30,
Yeah,
right?
we went to a 9:30 showing.
So it really didn't... You didn't leave until probably at least
midnight.
like midnight.
It was midnight.
So it was still dark outside, of course.
And
you were still probably scared.
Yes. And Danny never liked horror movies. Danny never liked scary horror movies. He liked sci-fi movies, but he never liked horror movies. Mm-hmm. So I still can't believe Danny went to see that movie. So
this was a real phenomenon. Do people talk about it a lot after the movie came out?
Yes.
It's one of those word of mouth movies where like you gotta go see it.
Yeah, and then people couldn't believe what they experienced.
It's one of those ones, once you see it for the first time, you're never going to be the
It's
same.
like Jaws.
Yeah.
It was like Jaws. but worse.
Mm-hmm. Some people described it as Jaws in space.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think one critic described it as, it's like Jaws in space. Or, you know what? It was during the pre-production when they were trying to pitch it to studios. Studios kept saying no to it, thinking they didn't understand how it was going to work. And there was a lot that was still in pre-production and still in the concept phase. And then somebody, when they were trying to pitch the idea to another studio, they said, what is it? And they said, it's Jaws in space. And they said, okay, keep talking. Because Jaws just come out.
I just now thought about it as like Jaws. I've never heard that term. But I did notice that since I saw this with you, I was being very critical of the film. But when I first saw it, everything I thought was incredible. But when I saw it with you, I was like, why are they wearing hazmat suits? Why would he touch it? Why would he do this? Why are they not in hazmat suits? Why aren't they doing this? Why are they doing that? So I was very critical because I'm more educated in that 46 years.
Mm-hmm. I'm less critical of the film because it's very much, you cannot, they genuinely tried to do their best with not having this thing affect them and happen to them and everything, except the one idiot in the first place. When he was first touching the pot, like the cocoon that led to the face hugger attacking him, that was stupid. But it's genuine morbid human curiosity, and that's like the state of human nature of curiosity is what failed him, not him himself. Or I wouldn't blame a writing standpoint. I remember when I first saw this movie, it was a very different experience because it wasn't in a movie theater, it wasn't pitch black. It was at my friend Robert J's house. And we had, it might have been a birthday, but it was at least the time where me and him and a few of his friends, and they were kind of my friends too, but they were mostly his friends. We came together and we sat down on his couch and we watched this movie. And it was like at the 30, 32 inch, maybe even a 40 inch TV. It wasn't that big. It was several feet away from us. Nothing like what we're looking at a 50 inch right now. But even with the lights on, even with the 40 inch simple HD TV with a Blu-ray player, I was scared out of my mind, terrified, and it was it's one of those things.
You had the lights on.
We had the lights on until it got dark enough where we could turn the lights off, and that's actually when the movie starts to kick up with its horror. So when it does, I'm scared out of my mind, and I'm thinking, what the hell did I just get myself into here? Seeing the chest burster out, that was a famous scene. Everybody's seen that before by this point. But seeing the scenes that lead up to the jump scares with the alien, they're very good natural jump scares. I hate stupid jump scares. These are very well done, natural, properly filmed scares that happen because it's exactly how it's supposed to happen in the first place. But the tension up until that point, you can never. It really does show how brilliant of a cinematographer Ridley Scott is and what his vision was going to be for this film. And it's one of my favorite horror films of all time. It really still stands up to this day.
But look at and I hate to interrupt, but look at the budget and look at what it made.
So it had an $8.4 million budget, and there was debate about how much money they actually spent on it. But I'm trusting, like the director, Ridley Scott, and a couple people said it was $8.4 million, so I'm sticking with 8.4. And then the box office, that was the box office alone. $188 million. That's not counting VHS rentals or anything like that.
And I know for a fact people took their friends. Once they saw it, they probably took their friends.
Yep.
And more friends, because that's the kind of thing that film brought on.
You got to see it. It's just like, you got to see this. It's going to be once in a lifetime experience. You got to go see this movie while it's in theaters. I wish I come back to that point. It's one of those things where, like, if I was a time traveler, I'd go back to 1979 this week to see that movie and see people's reactions.
I'm telling you,
it's an unforgettable experience once you see it for the first time.
There's a black guy in this film, and so back then, to have a black astronaut in a film,
it was important.
It was important. So a lot of African Americans went to go see this film. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of African Americans in that theater that night, and they were screaming. They were not I don't know what happened, but they were not expecting what they went to see. They were not happy.
I love that he was a fighter in that movie.
Yes.
He kept like, let's kill this thing. Kill it. Like everybody's
tell him the scene. Tell him about that scene that they did, about I didn't know this. You told me.
So
this.
The chest burster scene.
Yeah, I didn't know this.
This scene's been talked about.
I didn't
and it's
know
been
this.
debated about if it's how improvised is it, and like there's been laying down the line on how much it was improvised, and it's true that the scene itself, while it was written, they didn't talk about in the script what happens because they were still trying to plan out how they wanted to approach it. But when they realized it, they thought, what if we put the actors in a state where they don't know what's going to happen? So they got the one actor who's John Hurt, who's the one who was going to have the chest burster come out of his chest, his stomach, and they had him in makeup for a while. And they, in the script, because they revised it a little bit, in the script it just says, and then the beast appears, and it has teeth, and it's small. And like that's pretty much it. That's pretty much all it says. So they don't know where the beast will, quote-unquote, emerge from. It could have been from the ceiling. Who knows? It could have been anywhere. So when they're doing the scene, they knew there was going to be a dinner of some kind. They just didn't know what to expect, and they didn't know John Hurt knew what was going to happen too, and he did a great job acting like he was choking. I think they thought he was actually choking and starting to seize and stuff.
Seizuring.
Yes, he started really going into
They
spastic.
thought he was, and they reacted like they had to save him from choking on his tongue.
Yeah, and it really helped him
They
out.
said, "Grab a spoon, grab a spoon."
Yeah,
like his
they
tongue
had
was
to stop him from choking on his tongue. So then when he comes onto the table, and then as soon as the blood hits his shirt from the inside, everybody jumps back, and some of them you can see the look on their faces that, oh, this is the scene, but what's going to happen next? And then when the thing bursts out, they're all screaming, blood is all over their faces.
And the black guy goes like to kill it.
Yeah, he goes in like he's in fight or flight mode, man. He's ready to go.
And they said, "Don't touch it! Don't touch it!
Don't touch it!" And at that point, they know they're in the scene. But holy shit, like
I'm sorry, I don't know the black guy's name. I just don't know the black guy's name.
I can look up his name real quick. But man, it is one of those moments where I'm so glad. I'm not really one to surprise actors like that usually, but man, it is so hard to recreate something like that. You have to be really good at it.
I don't even know most of the actors' names. I know Sigourney Weaver because I know she was the.
And it's just kind of a shame because a lot of these actors, I mean, I don't know what they've done after Alien. I'm not really familiar with these people. At first, I didn't know
the other guy name, but I only recognized him from Steel Magnolias.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. We're just going to double check real quick. No, that wasn't him. I think it was him. Yaphet Kotto.
Yaphet Frederick Kotto.
Yeah, and he was
great. He was great.
Because
he went to stab the thing.
Yep.
Kill it.
He was ready to go. I love...
And then she said, no, don't...
Mm-hmm. Don't touch it. Don't kill it. Don't touch it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It's so great. It's so well done, and I absolutely loved it. Oh, this is the man who played the body actor for the alien himself, Balaji Badejo. Man, it's because sometimes they used practical effects. Other times they used somebody in a suit. So anyway, this film is fantastic. I give it 5 stars easily. It's still one of the greatest horror films of all time.
The only reason I don't give it 5 stars now is because of realizing that they could have done this and this and this, but back then I give it 5 stars.
Mm-hmm. So what would you give it now?
4. But back then I gave it 5 stars.
Well, I love this movie. I love talking about it.
I'll give it 5 because it's not fair for me back then and now. It's an incredible film.
Mm-hmm. Well, good. Well, I'm glad we have an agreement on that. So next up, we're going to go to something that's way less scary.
Oh, no, I was scared to death. No, I'm just kidding.
We have Sister Act, released May 29th, 1992. It was directed by Emile Ardolino. He did Dirty Dancing. It was written by Paul Frederick, who did Addams Family Values and a few other great comedy films. Simple, if you've never seen it before, Whoopi Goldberg stars in the film as Dolores, a Las Vegas singer who gets involved in the local mafia and witnesses a murder. She gets placed into witness protection program by disguising herself as a nun at a San Francisco church and convent, where she sees her life in a whole new perspective, changing the lives of those around her for the better. So this was Very well done film. I really enjoyed it. It's a great, simple movie that has some great values in it. I like the way they talk about the church and that there's, some things need to change. I think this is Whoopi Goldberg's best movie in my opinion. I've seen her in quite a few things. I thought she was great. Don't get me wrong. She was great in The Color Purple. The Color Purple is a wonderful movie. I'm not saying that she's not as good, but when I think about Whoopi Goldberg, I think of her best in Sister Act. I just do. I think that she does her best in this kind of movie where she gets to, you see the best of Whoopi Goldberg in this, and not somebody like her transforming into somebody else for The Color Purple, for example. I see she's at her most talented doing a movie that's like Sister Act.
I like the film a lot. It's just different from The Color Purple.
Right, but I'm just comparing not to think that way. If it's mentioned that I'm not trying to say that The Color Purple wasn't as good as Sister Act, absolutely not. But they're two different movies. But she did a great job at both of them. But I really just liked her more in Sister Act.
They're talking of doing another Sister Act, so
because they made a sequel, Back in the Habit, and now they're making a third one too, which good for them. I really do enjoy the film. Did you see it when it first came out?
Yes.
Did you see it in theaters and everything?
Yes.
Who did you see it with?
I don't remember.
Did your
feelings...
It
might have been with your father.
Yeah. Did your perspective change seeing it now as opposed to when you first saw it?
No. Nope. Good. Nope. Same. Nope. Same thing. Nope.
Well, it did very well. I mean, Roger Ebert loved it, he liked it, but he really criticized the filmmaking, and this really stood out to me, where he said that he criticized the filmmaking, and he specifically criticized the director for making a textbook formulaic film while praising Whoopi's humor and that she was what really made the film stand out. And Gene Siskel, he agreed, and he thought it was mostly just an enjoyable film for most audiences, but it's not really a film that you can really it's not a critic good film.
Yeah, I take that back. When I first saw it, I was not so critical about the writing. I thought the writing, when I watched it this time, was so well done. Remember when I commented on that?
Right. This film went through a couple revisions, over time, and then when Whoopi got involved, because originally the part was going to be for Bette Midler, but then when Whoopi got involved, they kind of mixed it up some more.
But I just thought that the writing was very well done in this film, because we had watched some terrible movie.
Mm-hmm. We see another.
There was another movie we started to watch, and I said, "Oh my God, do you see the comparison between that movie and this movie?"
Mm-hmm. We did have that for this week too.
Yeah. And I said, "There's no comparison. This writing is so much better."
Mm-hmm. I thought the writing was great, and I think Whoopi really added to that with her own style and everything,
and Maggie Smith was incredible.
No, she was wonderful. She really did a great example of somebody who's very cold and stern, but it's because it's out of love. It's out of care for her home and what her livelihood has been used to. And then all the nuns are so great and so funny and so, lively and fun to be around. I mean, you really...
But look at how much the budget was and how much it made.
So it did $31 million with its budget. And its total box office revenue was $231.6 million. And
I remember, just like Alien, how they marketed this movie. They marketed it heavenly. I was going to say another word, but they marketed this movie
like heaven.
They really marketed this movie, and it paid off.
It sure did. It really did, to the point where it made a musical, and the musical was great. Very, very well done musical. Great choice.
So it was a very good movie.
It's a good old-fashioned, family experience. I really can't say much bad about it. I think the writing was really what made it great, and the acting was great. It is kind of cookie cutter, but it's like it's not like they weren't trying to subvert your expectations. If you know what you're getting into, that's it. And if it was anybody else besides Whoopi Goldberg, it really would have been formulaic and textbook.
What was funny is that it was, because right at the same time they're picking on a new pope, and there's a scene about the pope.
Yeah, that's right. The pope shows up, and the concert, because of the things. It's a really great movie that emphasizes the positives of being religious, along with because their character was religious, stopped being religious, and then she came back into it. And it really shows you that no matter where you come from, no matter how bad your past experiences were, you can make the most of it, and that you can make good change on in both perspectives if you just put your mind to it and look at things from a different point of view. And it's a very good messaging in the story too, and I really think it stands out.
Did you see her in Ghost?
I did see her in Ghost.
Okay,
yeah.
She was really good in Ghost.
She was really good in Ghost. I liked her more in Sister.
I know.
Good. All right, moving on to Finding Nemo. It was released on May 30th, 2003. Directed by Andrew Stanton. He did several Pixar films. He was very much in Pixar involved. And it was also written by Stanton, along with Bob Peterson, who co-directed Up, and David Reynolds, who directed The Emperor's New Groove. The film centers around a clownfish named Marlin as he goes across this ocean to find his son Nemo. He's accompanied by Dory, a blue tang fish with short-term memory loss, as they form an unlikely bond over their journey. Now, we saw this in theaters. I remember we saw it in theaters.
And this is the film that brought back Ellen DeGeneres'
career.
Oh,
yes. And she was, obviously excellent in this. Albert Brooks plays Marlin. Ellen DeGeneres plays Dory. There's other characters and actors I didn't expect to be in this. Jeffrey Rush, he played Barbossa in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. That's how I really know him.
Who was Brad Garrett?
Brad Garrett was that pufferfish.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he had that big booming voice. And Jeffrey Rush was the pelican. And I never would have thought that was Jeffrey Rush. He did a great job with that, too. Willem Dafoe, I loved Willem Dafoe. He played that scarred, beta fish, I think it's beta fish, in the aquarium, too.
There's a
lot of great actors in this.
It was a fantastic animated film.
But I love some of the jokes in the movie. Seeing it again with you reminds me of when we saw it in theaters. And you said there was a lot of there was a lot of kids in the theater, there was a lot of adults in the theater too. And there was a joke that I didn't expect. I laughed at it now, but I didn't get it when I was a kid. Was when the shark, the great white Bruce, is chasing after Marlin and Dory. All of a sudden, he gets trapped in a little spot, and you see his partial face, and you hear him say, "Here's Brucey."
Yeah, you loved that joke then, and you loved those sharks, and I got you a big stuffed Brucey shark,
great white shark.
Yeah, I got you a stuffed one. And you love that shark. But you have it on your bed.
And you said that was a joke that the adults started really going crazy over. Mm-hmm. And that's something that I can really appreciate. It's something that kids won't get The Shining, but the adults would, and it's something that I could really appreciate.
But you love all those sharks.
Oh yeah, the sharks are the best part of the movie. I missed some jokes that were so funny. Like when he first smells that blood, he starts to go,
Dory got hurt.
Yeah, after Dory gets hurt, and then he sniffs the blood and he starts to turn not feral, but like a shark. And then the other two sharks that are with him in this program, they scream intervention and they grab him. I never got that intervention thing. So seeing that again, I started laughing my butt off because it was so intervention. It still gets me. It's a simple, funny joke, and there's a lot you can see. There's a lot of little intricacies.
The beauty of that film with all the colors of the coral and all the colors of the fish.
And it really takes you feeling.
Crush the
turtle,
the sea turtle. All the turtles, all the little turtles, all the baby turtles, all the messages that they talk about of, people growing up. Not people, but animals growing up.
If we all have kids, the kids got to grow up and you got to trust them to do things on their own.
And just all kinds of messages that's throughout that film. Mm-hmm. And I remember after we saw the film, I took you to Ballyhoo, and they have that seafaring room in the back. Uh-huh. And we all enjoyed... We ate seafood.
Yes, we did. We ate seafood after we saw a movie about how important it was not to eat fish or friends, not food. And then we started eating cod and other things.
Who knows what we ate.
I ate shrimp probably, for sure.
Yeah, but...
so funny. But it's a really funny film.
I don't remember that little girl being so wicked. Oh my God, that little girl.
The little girl who kills fish by shaking them violently in that bag. Oh my gosh.
It was so well done.
Oh yeah, absolutely well done. I think it's a great movie.
Look at how much it made.
Yeah, it made
almost $1 billion.
Yep, and that's from the box office. That's not counting DVD, merchandise. It was a multi-billion-dollar success.
$94 million budget, $940 million at the box. It's
incredible. It's just everything made this film succeed. The writing, the acting, the direction. They knew exactly what they were coming into making this movie. You could tell the love and the heart and the soul that comes into it. This is quintessentially perfect Pixar.
I bet you Ellen DeGeneres is still making money off of it.
Oh, I bet she'll be making residuals for the rest of her life, and she deserves it too. Despite everything she's gone through, I mean, she needed this, and I'm glad she got what she needed from this too. And I wish things had been different for her in the future, but she deserved the recognition she got because she did such a great job playing Dory.
She has a great future.
Yeah, she's totally fine now.
Yeah.
But she did such a great job in this movie, and I really appreciate it. But what would you give this movie out of 5 stars?
Probably a 4.
I'd probably give it a 4.5 because I really can't think of much I would change out of it. There's so much unlimited potential with this kind of movie, so I would just give it 4.5 because there were some things that I may have changed a little bit, and I would have liked to have seen a little bit more. They could have done a little bit more, but overall, it's great. I really enjoyed it. So next up is Up, released May 29th, 2009. It was directed by Pete Docter, who directed Monsters, Inc. It was also written by Docter and Bob Peterson, who was also involved in a lot of Pixar stuff. He ended up doing the voice of that golden retriever, Doug. Ed Asner plays Carl Fredrickson, an old man who decides to honor his late wife by taking his house by thousands of balloons to land it in a secret island called Paradise Falls in South America. He accidentally brings a young scout named Russell as they find themselves in more trouble than they expected. Now, this was a great film. I enjoyed this movie more than I did last time I saw it. So I think the first time you saw it was
you,
with like 12 years ago, something like that.
Well, I don't remember the first time, but it was many years ago. Mm-hmm. I think it was before we moved here in St. Augustine. So
it was. So I was way more critical of the film back then. I've warmed up to it some more after seeing it this time, and I'm still kind of critical of it, but overall I think it was very well done for what it needed to do, especially about grief, about what you need to do with grief and how to move on from it.
I think it also teaches young people about the stages of life. Mm. And I think that's important. It shows the stages of life with meeting a friend, then getting to know them, then maybe even having a future with them, and then as you grow older. And that's important because a lot of people don't realize this. And I think as a young person, you may need to know this.
Now, when this movie came out, it was everywhere. People talked about it everywhere.
I remember.
You could not escape this movie. It was just everywhere. And it got nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars, which was unheard of. Unheard of. It still is unheard of.
And I think it's because of the messaging.
Absolutely.
I think it's because of the messaging it had.
Absolutely.
Baby girl's wanting to play.
Oh, yes.
That's why she's barking. And she's getting feisty.
Yes.
The feisty little shit.
Yep, we're almost done. We only have one more movie after Up. But I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was very well done. The biggest negative in the movie is that they kind of turn it into a don't meet your hero story with making it that his childhood hero ends up being the villain. I thought that was pretty dumb.
Yeah.
It was unnecessary.
It was. They could have done better.
There really didn't need to be a villain. Not really. It just needed to be about those two, and the dog that they meet, Doug, was great. I mean, I would have liked that too. There's things you can criticize in the film, but overall, they did so much right. I'm more sympathetic with it, and not as harsh or critical as
I think it went on a little too long.
I think that's mainly, I think it went on a little bit too long, mainly because of with the plot and everything, with the betrayed villain situation.
It just went too long.
Yeah, the second half of the movie really falls apart.
Yep.
But it does save itself with the ending. I think there's a lot of great points of that ending too, and that's pretty much. Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
I give it a 4.
Yeah, I would give it a 4 stars. That's pretty much it. It's one of those films that we don't love it like crazy, but it was very good for what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
This last movie is Moonrise Kingdom. It was released May 25th, 2012, directed by Wes Anderson. And Anderson's done so many great films. And it was written by him and Roman Coppola. And when a boy and a girl planned...
Wait, I want to know, Roman Coppola is...
The younger... He's the son of Francis Ford Coppola.
Okay.
One of the sons, Francis Ford Coppola. The story is that when a boy and a girl plan to run away together, they desperately try to escape a Boy Scout troop, the girl's parents, an assault-of-the-earth police officer.
It's not Boy Scouts. They're not called Boy Scouts in this movie.
Right, but they're called
Is it like a Boy Scout?
Yeah, it's like a Boy Scout.
It's like a Boy Scout troop.
So
it's not called Boy Scouts.
I don't like describing this movie because it's something that you just have to see for yourself.
And I'm sorry to interrupt. Go ahead and read the rest.
No, it's okay.
No, go ahead. An assault-of-the-earth police officer and this quirky love story. This movie is almost so incredible. I rarely see a movie twice in a row, and this movie I saw twice in a row. Mm-hmm. Do you remember that?
I remember. We had to see it again. I remember seeing it. We saw it in theaters, and
we saw it in theaters twice in a row.
Right, but I didn't know what to expect out of it.
No.
Why did we see this movie? I forgot why we even saw it in the first place. We never saw an Anderson film before. This was right when I was starting to enjoy films as more than just movies. I've
seen some Wes Anderson films, but I heard that this film was something you could not miss.
This was around 2010 is when I started looking at films in a more analytical and film critic-like vibe, because that's around the time where I met Robert J., and he and I love movies like crazy, and I started looking at them with a more critical and a more focused point of view. Right, so by this point, I'd started looking at films more critically, even than my favorites as well, and picking out my favorites, and looking at them more than just entertainment. I saw them as pieces of art and storytelling, and this is what I was really getting into. So by this point, I was still starting my journey early on into film analysis, and this movie stood out to me as something that I really did enjoy. And seeing it, every time I see it, I enjoy it more and more. The actors in it are so great.
There's always a surprise.
There's always a surprise. And that's what makes Wes Anderson such a genius. He's not always a genius. There's some films that I've seen that I thought were okay and that were, don't always hit. But this one is in my opinion, I will argue with it till the day I die. The Moonrise Kingdom is his best movie. It's absolutely his best movie.
Well, he's still making films.
Yeah, he's still making them. So I would love for him to prove me wrong with his next films as they come out. But this film is so well done. There's so much going on, and it's so funny. And it's what makes this film stand out compared to the other movies, which she's done pretty well in all for the most part. It's so grounded in a basic idea, and then he expands it. And the basic idea is a simple, all the characters are simple. There's not that many of them, so you can keep track of who is who. Because his later films have so many people, it's hard to keep track of. But in this, it's simple. You know exactly. There's only 10 people you got to really keep track of, if not that, if not a little bit less.
There's a little bit more than that.
But you can keep track of them.
But the film work, the filming, how he films certain scenes is incredible. It's a great first Anderson film because you can understand it and you'll see exactly. You don't know what to expect until you start really seeing it, and you're like, "Holy, wow! What's he doing? Wow, that's really interesting." And it's very realistic. One of the best scenes in the movie is later on when after the boy and girl find each other and they have a night together. These are 12-year-old kids. They spend the night in a tent together. And then they wake up and they see everybody who's looking for him is outside the tent. And then he's they're half naked. I mean, they got their underwear on essentially. And you see the parents the girl's parents are there. First thing the kid does is zip the tent closed, thinking that's going to save him. And then Bill Murray, the dad, he's rushing over and he grabbed that tent. He's so angry at that kid. But it's not really it's just a little nothing tent.
It's a little nothing.
It's a nothing tent.
There are so many good jokes in this movie.
Everybody in the film relates to everybody. Mm-hmm. There's some relationship somehow, some way. Yeah, they all relate because they're on an island, and they all relate to someone somehow, some way, and they all tell a story how they all relate to each other and how they know each other. It's so cute, and how the narration is. And
part of the story and the things that happen is partially inspired by Wes Anderson and Roman Coppola's childhood. So you criticized the movie earlier saying, why is Frances McDormand's character, why is the mom using a megaphone to yell at her kids? Because she kept using a megaphone to yell at her kids.
I knew there was a reason, but I wanted to know the reason.
And then we found out that it's because Roman Coppola said that his mother used to use a megaphone to call him down to dinner all the time. It was like, it's so weird. Why would you do that? And it makes sense. Like, now it makes sense because it's taken from a real situation. But I love this movie. It had a $16 million budget. It did $68 million in the box office. It deserved way more. And I love it. I think it's fantastic. And I would give it 5 stars easily.
Oh, without a doubt.
I think it genuinely is one of the best films of the 21st century.
You know, what's really, I touched upon was that Bill Murray had talked about Bruce Willis.
Mm-hmm. Really talked, and in the behind the scenes, but
he talked about Bruce Willis when he was at the SNL 50th anniversary. He told this story, and then they played together in this film. Mm-hmm. So I thought you should touch upon that what Bill Murray said about Bruce Willis.
So there was a part, I forgot when Bill Murray was talking about this. I think it was Hot Ones. Was it Hot Ones?
I don't know, but you said that.
But Bill Murray was talking about Bruce Willis, where Bruce Willis at the time when Bill Murray was on SNL, and as an actor, Bruce Willis was an intern at that studio, at the Studio 9 or 10B or whatever it is. But he was an intern, and that he was always nice to Bill, and like they always kind of had this thing going where they were getting along.
But to all the staff,
he was always nice to all the staff, and
all
he was really complimenting him a lot. And what really stood out is that I think
he would fill the candies.
He would fill the that's what I'm trying to say. He would fill the candy bowls for Bill specifically, and anybody else who would need them. But he really would.
M&Ms. He said it was M&Ms and some other candy.
And he said that he really appreciated that about Bruce, and that you could just tell that he was really a go-getter, and that it was just a really something that I can't describe that well. It's something that you just have to hear for yourself from him, from Bill's perspective.
But they played together in this film.
Mm-hmm.
And see, Bruce Willis really was a bigger star than Bill Murray. And Bruce Willis now has this dementia problem, which I think is a shame. But they're in this movie together, and I bet they had a good time playing with each other in 2012 in this film. Mm-hmm. I just thought you should mention that Bill Murray had mentioned Bruce Willis. I remember hearing Bill Murray talking about Bruce Willis in a positive manner from the 50th anniversary.
No, that's something that I can describe, but it's really better if you just if you have a chance to hear it for yourself or read it for yourself. That I was really touched by it, and it was just because it showed that how much he cared about, like, quote unquote little people, and that they really had a bond for each other over something so simple, and it's something that people should aspire to and remember when they're working with other people, is that you never know where you're going to end up with them. So
yeah, but anyway.
Anyway, I think this is one of the best films of the 21st century. I really do think that, because there's you can't replicate something like this. Not anybody, like, you can never ask any other director or anything to make a story like this as well as Wes Anderson did. This is lightning in a bottle. And this is a film that you can see over and over and over and over again, still find something to enjoy. So, I loved it. I thought it was great. I can't wait to see it again. And I'm glad we have it on Blu-ray so we can keep seeing it over and over again.
I think it's called Moonrise Kingdom, though, because they named that beach.
Yeah, they
renamed the beach. It was named some boring name.
Yeah, it was something.
The two kids that were in love with each other.
And those kids were so great. They ended up, the girl, she did some stuff after, like some small stuff, and she was fine. And the boy did a few things after as well. So they didn't really, I'm surprised they didn't really kick off with a career, like a big career. Maybe they wanted to be that way. But they were really great in it, and they had good chemistry with each other, and the kids in general were so excellent in this.
But anyway, they called it Moonrise Kingdom because the two kids that were in love with each other renamed the beach that they ended up running away to, named it Moonrise Kingdom, their beach.
Yeah. So that was it. We had a great time this week, a lot of good movies to talk about this week, and next week we have even more that we're already starting to work on and go through. But this was a great week for movies, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the next week's going to end up holding for us. The summer season is just getting started, and I'm really worried about how much time we'll have to see all these movies.
Thanks for listening. We appreciate you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great Memorial Day weekend, and hope you recover from it at least, and take care.